Welcome back, YouTube, to the go-kart build. So, this is my coworker's go-kart that I'm revamping. I've already done a bunch of tin work. I remounted all these panels because they were literally held on by baling wire. And they're sharp and jagged and had some really, really nasty edges. For a go-kart, that's not okay because right here was a nice jagged edge that somebody was just going to grab onto that bar and cut the crap out of their hands. Well, so far, got the engine in it, although it's bolted in place and it's running it and stuff like that, but it's going to be coming out again. I got to come up with a different solution for this header. I think I'm going to cut it off and turn it down a little bit and then just take this muffler here and mount it up nice and tight right in there to get it out of the way. So that I want it inside this cage in case something happens, it's not going to bust that off. That's a terrible spot for it. I'm surprised it even fits in there though. That was a good guess. And well, so I whipped together this battery holder yesterday. Took and used it for some TIG practice and TIG welded the whole thing up nice and neat. And was trying to find a good spot for it. I'm still thinking if I'm going to fix this, but somebody has welded the suspension solid so it can't move anymore. And I might fix it, I might not. I don't know yet. I'm going to have to brace it up and stuff like that if I do. But we'll see what happens. But I'm thinking I'm going to put this battery right here. If I squeeze it in here, I can get this nice and tight. And just barely butt it up to this bracket there. Barely anything hanging out here. Back that off just a little bit, just like that. Yeah, it has this bolt hanging out, but that's not gonna hurt anything. This is gonna get welded in. I got a nice weld point here, nice couple weld points in here. We just barely got clearance to that motor. But that makes it so that my positive battery cable is going to go from here to that lug. That's it. That's all it's going to be. And then this ground to probably just go right down to one of the mounting bolts. Yeah. Well, see you in the next clip. Alright, so I figured I should do another part on this quick before I get too far. So I noticed this thing's got locked out suspension. Somebody welded these bars in here because it looks like this arm underneath here snapped all off, and they tried to reinforce it a bit, but it doesn't seem like that was enough. So they just welded it solid, which is creating some more problems. You can see these arms are starting to bend up because this is allowed to flex, but this isn't. So then it's putting all the stress right here instead of putting it on these shocks and being able to relieve it. So I got these joints here cut, and then I got some plates. I'm gonna weld here, and then I'm gonna put another one that'll kind of go up at an angle here, and then there'll be another one inside of here. So I'm gonna put 3, and then I'm gonna put, well, I guess I don't have to put one more in here, but I might put one more on the outside here. Yeah, I got one of those for each side. Fits in there nice and tight. You just use cardboard and trace it out on a piece of cardboard and get it to fit, and then trace the cardboard onto a piece of steel and go cut it out with an angle grinder and grind her up, stuff like that. I got her pretty close, plenty close enough to fill her in with the MIG welder. Got my clutch here. Yeah, so the shaft, you can see there's almost no wobble in it anymore. Just a teeny tiny bit. not bad. I took the whole shaft out, took everything off of it, held it up against the level and found the top of where it's was bent, or the deepest part of the bend. And then I put that facing up on my little pipe bender here. And then just give it a little bit of pressure and then just kind of trial and error, keep going back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. You don't want to go too far because then you're going to start weakening your metal if you have to start bending it back. But did that, took about 15 minutes or so of bending, and I got it pretty damn straight. And then I pulled the seal covers off these bearings and re-greased them because I don't have grease zerks, but I don't have new bearings to put in the thing, and I'm trying to keep this thing within a budget, so I'm not going to put new bearings in it. These seem to be just fine. They're a little bit noisy, but I mean, it's a damn go-kart. What matters? Yeah, well, see you in the next part. Hopefully I'll have this welding done by then. Well, here's how bad the axle was. Well, I got all that gusseting done. Put a plate here, plate there, and a plate here. Don't worry about the paint job. That's just, obviously the whole go-kart needs a paint job. It's just there to keep it from rusting, that's it. I welded up my battery tray, welded that on nice and solid. So, what was wrong is this guy here wants to go up like this. Well, I don't have any direct way to hook onto that, so this plate here stops this movement. This plate here stops this movement, and that plate stops this movement. So the combination of this plate in here and this plate in here stops that movement, and we can't get this movement going either. So then that is pretty damn solid, locked right in there. Putting a bar in here wouldn't really do much. Yeah, it ain't going nowhere. It's solid. The only better thing I think you could do is take and come off of here with a bar right up to this bolt hole position, and that might help it, but I think I got it beefed up plenty good enough. Yeah, well, now I got the rear suspension working again, which is fantastic, and I think that's going to last a long time. I don't think you're going to be able to break that. If you break that, then you shouldn't be driving a go-kart. And I just quick sprayed this because, well, I had the paint out there. The paint job is terrible, and I'm admitting it. It's terrible. But it's just to stop rust. That's all it's for. It's a go-kart. Yeah. Well, I got that guy welded there, and I'm going to start putting it together. See you in the next clip. Alright, so since the last clip, I've done quite a bit of work. Tires are now on. Engine's in place. I'm going to have to change this header because it's going to hit. Because I fixed the suspension on this thing, it'll hit. But I got the wiring done, hopefully. I haven't started it yet, but we're going to try. I relocated the key switch right there. Nice and convenient. Everything's hooked up here. This is a spare kill switch wire. So I just leave that loose. I told the guy that I would leave him one. And this joint here doesn't have any tension on it, but the only way this rear end flexes is up, and as it flexes up, it'll become more slack. I have no doubt that that's going to be just fine. Well, let's see if the new key switch works. Take and choke that and give this thing a little bit of throttle so it actually starts. I won't be surprised if it doesn't start. I still need to tune the engine up. Oh, must have hooked something up wrong. Alright, I'm back. Turned out not to be my wiring, it turned out to be that the battery was completely flat. But in that time, I got this linkage hooked up. I just bent a piece of wire and it goes down in that hole and then comes wraps around. And then I made a little bracket here. I can go into detail on that in the future, something like that maybe. It takes a little bit of trial and error, but you usually get it. I'm not too worried about that being close to the spark plug wire. It's got quite a bit of insulation there. Yeah, I got her all buttoned up. I gotta do something about this muffler because, well, if you jump on it, it'll actually touch the muffler, and that's gonna end up breaking it right off. You can see how nice and tidy that battery is in there. But yeah, well, let's see if this thing will start. There she goes. Well, I'm gonna go take it for a test ride and I'll let you know how it goes. Alright, final clip. Here we are, we got her all wrapped up, the cage back on her. Everything's all together. I got the header figured out. Nice and in there, and the way the frame flexes, it's not gonna hit. And if this thing were to roll, it's not sticking out, it's not gonna get broken off. Worked out good. I redid all this tin. It was pretty bad. It was the same tin here, the 29 was there. I added this center section here because there wasn't enough metal to finish it off, but it was held on by plumbing strap and rivets, and it was just flopping around, and I was afraid somebody was going to get cut. Unfortunately, the battery's junk. But it does have a pull start, so I'll fire it up and take it for a ride. Brakes work pretty good. Pretty steep. That's the Honda switch. I just cut it up and used it. So yeah. That was the build. This thing's done and it's headed back to its owner. Alright, well, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. This is Crazy Builder 141 signing off. Have a good day.